Who's ever gifted flowers? Would you if that could cost your loved one's health? My grandfather was a florist for 60 years. He loved his craft, but daily exposure to hidden danger gave him lung issues, skin irritation, and cancer. He passed away. No florist should risk their health for their art. I'm Kanna, founder of Asaichi. For 70 years, florists have used green fluorofoam packed with formaldehyde, a known carcinogen, and microplastics that pollute our waterways. They use 1.4 million blocks daily, exposing themselves constantly to a toxic chemical. They've searched for safer options, but nothing worked. Until now. Asaichi is the first plant-based hydrogel floral base that holds stems, hydrates flowers, and cuts easily, giving florists the same functionality without the harm. But could it truly replace toxic foam in the hands of real florists? The riskiest assumption I tested is eco-conscious florists in San Diego will find Asaichi perform well enough to replace toxic foam, leading to intent to reuse based on their experience with the product. Why? Because performance drives adoption. If Asaichi doesn't perform, nothing else matters, not price, not sustainability. To validate, we needed answers to 5 key questions. Does Asaichi perform as well or better than toxic foam? Can it support different types of floral design? Does it secure and hydrate flowers and maintain structure? Does it integrate smoothly into their current processes? And after use, do they want to use it again? Based on Brendan Davis' framework, I mapped 9 key assumptions across viability, desirability, and feasibility. Performance ranked the highest in both importance and uncertainty, so that's where we focus to test. I built the landing page using Lovable, where florists could reorder if they liked Asaichi. I gave QR code to order and price same as our previous pre-order experiment to remove pricing bias and absorb whether or not they would reorder on their own. The survey captured performance across their current methods, fit across their different designs, usability, and willingness to reuse. With funding resources, I made 15 blocks using single mold. Each took over an hour. I hand-delivered to 5 San Diego florists. These were not random. They had either pre-ordered or joined early access list from previous experiment, or eco-conscious and searching for a safer alternative. All 5 accepted to pilot, 4 tested samples, and 3 completed the survey. They use Asaichi in charging everyday arrangements and found it easy to cut and clean. But one said flower support was weak. The others experienced wilting from poor hydration. One said maybe the other would not reuse it again yet. That was hard to hear, but exactly the honest feedback I needed. It confirmed our assumption. Performance is key for repeat use. We'll continue following up with them to gather deeper insights. Their feedback gave clarity. These assumptions are non-negotiable. If one fails, the rest fall apart. It revealed critical requirement, not just easy stem insertion, but the ability to insert and secure stems at exact angles. I learned performance varied based on flower type, stem length, and number of stems, a key variable now I'll account for. And before finalizing our MVP, retention, hydration, and angle control must be our priority. This sprint pushed me to pilot with florists, something I was scared to do, and I kept improving as I went. Initially, I gave QR codes for reorder and survey, but they needed guidance, so I added instructions. The blocks were cold from the fridge, which damped papers, so I switched to digital. The survey was 14 open-ended questions. No one answered. I cut it to 10 quick multiple choice which improved the responses. Reframing pilot as first 5 boosted the engagement. And I learned no one read the instructions. They want how-to video. These insights will help me for the next pilot. So what's next? I'm asking for $2,500 to improve hydration, angle control, and extend vase life to a week. I'll refine formula, improve our tools, create how-to, and deliver improved samples to test. We know what to fix, we built the system to keep learning, and we're ready to move fast. Asaichi is no longer just an idea, it's in Flora's hand. With your support, we'll make it their go-to alternative to toxic foam. Let's make floral design safer, cleaner, and better together. Thank you.
All right, you were on time. Judges, the floor is yours. Thank you, Kanna. Fantastic.
Wonderful. I'm going to start with a question that's actually towards the end of all the different pieces. But as you are looking at the learnings from this test, one of the things that I heard you talk about in the learnings was different types of flowers do better. Is that leading you to any questions about whether changing the product design so that it meets all flowers or reducing the target market to only be for some flowers? Is that something that you're looking at with that data?
Yes. So one florist mentioned, hey, it does work for different flowers, and also this flower hydration, it might actually work fine for event florists because they only need those floral arrangement alive for a few hours versus the everyday arrangement. Their consumer will have the arrangement. So that's one thing that I never thought about. But in terms of different type of flower that changes the performance, I will at least want to test changing the formulation to see if, let's say, roses was one of the things that didn't work well because they had the thorns, and then it kind of changes the structure. So that's something I love to test through this FUNding and refine the formula and see if that works. And if that does, then we can keep the customer target the same and keep going with that.
I have another question, but I'll see if the other judges have questions first.
I just have a quick one. Thank you for putting this together. I think it was very clear.
Thank you.
Have you considered, so you're trying to maybe change behavior patterns of existing florists. I'm wondering, from your segmentation point of view, have you considered going to people that maybe are learning how to do this, or maybe earlier on in their career? With your segmentation, do you have a feel for where these people were in their sort of journey? And do you think it makes sense to start people, maybe like corrupt them while they're younger so you can show the value of what you're doing? I'm just curious if that thought process, if you
Great question. I thought about, starting with the flower school, because that's where the younger generation learn, and that would impact them directly to how the floral industry will be. But I talked to those floral school, and they want to use product that has reputation, and without those customer base and having those feedback, I would not even be able to have those as floral school as a customer. And I see them as more of a strategic partnership rather than customer. If I can partner with them, then they can use our product and bring that, bring those to generations to come.
Okay, so potentially build your reputation with existing florists and use that as leverage with those schools. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my thoughts were around the inertia that's out there. You're asking florists to fire the solution that they've been using forever and a day. I'm not sure how many of them are aware of the health problems that their existing solution can offer. Would a pair of gloves, be sufficient, or do I really have to fire my existing product and hire your solution? I got the sense you were really looking at kind of the product itself and the features of the product, rather than the market and their willingness to pay for this solution. Do you think that's where the greatest risk is the functionality of your product, or is it the market for it?
So I actually interviewed over 150 florists before this experiment to learn, is this problem even worse to solve? So I just learned about florists itself, what's the challenges they face, and I validated that. And I use AI generated image without no prototyping on Instagram and website. And we got not only the feedback about our concept itself, but we even got the paid pre-orders from just the concept. So we did learn. Thank you. We did learn.
My follow-up on that then would be, it sounds like you went to kind of local florists.
Yes.
Which are doing, direct sales to consumers, where the economic buyer is the owner of the florist shop. Do you have a sense of how the market segments versus kind of like the big 800 flowers, or like where it's more of a enterprise sales type of approach to get into that market, and who's the economic buyer there, who's making the buy decision?
So we thought about, hey, what if we just start with their suppliers so that we can just integrate that, how they already buy. But I learned that it's kind of same as other corporate deals that you make. They want to see sales. They want to see the reputation again. And for 1-800-Flowers, I didn't know about this until I interviewed florists, but they're just a third person. So they bring the orders out to the customers. They get the orders in, and then they give the recipe to local florists. So again, the local florists don't want to use in the green thumb, but that's when I noticed, hey, that could be our strategic partnership in the future. If I can partner with the 1-800-Flowers to use our product, then those local florists has to use. So again, those were the segment I thought about, but no longer a segment.
All right. Well, thank you. I think we are on time, so we need to move. Great job, Kanna. Thank you, judges. Very thought-provoking questions.